Hello, everyone. This is the first video in the Early American History curriculum. We will be looking at standards in history a little differently, and I hope this will help you remember the information better. This video series was created to help you analyze big ideas or questions that are based on state standards. And it is my belief that if you can understand and answer these questions, it will help you understand the important ideas of why we study history. Through the questioning process, you will learn to develop your own view of history and make arguments, rather than just base your answers on what you think I want to hear. In the videos, I will identify important people, ideas, and vocabulary that I think will be important to discovering your answer to the questions. And I suggest that you write these terms down in a notebook or create a digital notebook on your Google Drive to organize this information. There will be an entrance ticket to assess your understanding of that information from the previous video that you must be able to pass before moving on with class activities or the next video. The goal for this course will be to master the information prior to moving on to new information. So let's introduce you to our first standard we will address. North America, originally inhabited by American Indians, was explored and colonized by Europeans for economic and religious reasons. Let's start by changing this standard into a question. No, this is not the game show Jeopardy, but by forming questions, it gives us the investigative means to find evidence that will help us explain that standard. So by looking at this standard, it states that North America was inhabited by American Indians, and it was explored and colonized by the people of Europe for economic and religious reasons. The big question that comes to mind about this standard is, why was North America colonized? But before we try and tackle that broad question, let's break it down into 3 separate questions and find details and evidence that will help us develop our answer. Question number 1. Why did European nations explore? We need to figure out the goals and motives of people. Why do people do anything? Or in some cases, nothing. What motivates you to watch these videos? Is it because you want a good grade? You really want to learn about the topic? Or your parents have certain expectations? Your goals could be short-term. I want to remain eligible for basketball. Or long-term. I want to develop skills and get a good job after I graduate college. So what was the goal of the Europeans to get onto boats and set sail? 2. How did Europe make money through colonization? The standard mentions that there were economic reasons or benefits for Europe to colonize the New World. So what are they? Discovering the answer to this question will help us understand what motivates all humans. How do we make money to survive and live the life we want? It's one of the reasons people are always prone to ask you, what do you want to be when you grow up? When you are asked this question, it often isn't for idle curiosity, but to make sure you understand how much hard work is needed to achieve your goals. However, if it's your parents doing the asking, they want to make sure you can support yourself without living in their basement. So show me the money. Question 3. Why were there religious reasons for colonization? What were the religious reasons for colonization in North America, and which religious organizations sought colonization in North America? Why? The standard states that there are religious reasons for colonization, and some of these you learned in elementary school. We're going to look deeper into this idea and get specific reasons and religious motives for colonization. People do good things and bad things depending on your perspective for what they believe in. The United States witnessed this firsthand with the September 11, 2001 attacks on the World Trade Center in Washington, D.C. The men who planned those attacks believed they would be rewarded in heaven for attacking the infidels, non-believers. Christians have also killed each other and other Muslims because they believe they were doing God's will. Do you believe in something so passionately? How do you convince others that what you believe is correct? Do you lead by example and model that belief in your action, or would you resort to violence as if it was necessary to get your point across? You will hear some stories from my perspective of history. You'll be learning history in these videos based on how I interpret evidence and how I answer the questions. But I challenge you to challenge me and find your own voice. There will be times that you will agree with me, but please don't be afraid to disagree with me. History is an argument about the past, and people will use that history and stories to get you to agree with their side of the argument. But also remember the immortal words of George Santayana: those who cannot remember the past are condemned to repeat it. We must learn from our mistakes, and more importantly, we must learn from the mistakes of history. Perhaps a better quote and reason to learn history is the following from Milan Kundera's The Book of Laughter and Forgetting. The first step in liquidating a people is to erase its memory, destroy its books, its culture, its history, then have somebody write new books, manufacture a new culture, invent a new history. Before long, the nation will begin to forget what it is and what it was. The world around it will forget even faster. So let us not forget our past and journey to find out who we need to be. Thank you.